1, 2, 3, 4. All right, presenting sponsor.
Just don't forget this. On the
yes, thank you for that. And please feel free to remind me on the goals, too. Is that any goal or just the Monterey goal?
Monterey goal.
Okay. All right. Sitting around scratching myself for an hour and a half, and now light the rocket.
This is awesome.
Let's go, boys. Is this going to be Apollo 11 or Apollo 13? Let's find out. Olvin Oliva. I do not know Olvin. That's a name I don't recognize for the ref. It is a beautiful day for the beautiful game at Cardinale Stadium in Monterey, Seaside, California. Our match tonight presented by Amble Clothing, Phoenix Rising FC, and Monterey Bay FC, two clubs seeking to turn around some slumps they are in, and a critical matchup for playoff positioning as we're starting to wind down on this USL Championship season. With Eric Dobransky, I'm Dave Lamont, and Eric, we go right to the standings because this is something we're going to talk about all night with these two teams.
And still with a lot of games left here in the second portion of the season, this could be a really defining match for both these teams. I don't want to put so much on one game, but for 3 points up for grabs, Monterey Bay and Phoenix Rising, two teams that are really struggling to find a rhythm and consistency throughout the season. And you see it here for Monterey Bay, the June success, 4-0, 8 goals scored, only 2 conceded, 2 clean sheets. And it's almost been like a flip of the script for them in their recent form. I mean, 0-4-1 in their last 5. They've conceded a lot of early goals, 11 goals conceded, 2 goals for, and then shut out 3 times.
That's the thing with these guys that's hard to imagine. This is a team with tremendous offensive capability, and where that offense has gone is a mystery to everyone, I'm sure, around USL.
And a lot of coaches will tell you good teams find balance in both boxes, and right now it's just the consistency that escapes both of these sides. And for Monterey Bay, Alex Dixon has been tremendous this season and somebody they're going to count on tonight. He's really dynamic. He can stretch the line. He can be explosive. He can really create for himself and others.
Few people know this league as well as Alex Dixon does, too. He's been around the USL Championship for quite some time, and he is going to be a linchpin. We've got several real snipers in this game, and you talk about Phoenix Rising. They're not on great form either, but they are, 0-2-1 in their last 3. They got clocked the other night.
And sometimes the best thing for a team is a quick turnaround, and for Phoenix Rising, they're going to have a quick turnaround. An away game at Sacramento Republic on Wednesday, and as you mentioned, 4 goals conceded in that first 45 minutes in that matchup. Definitely not the performance that Juan Guerra and his team were looking for. And can this be that bounce back match? Because they are creating chances, but it's about converting. And for their side, Arteaga is going to be a key to that. In that match against Sacramento Republic, he had a couple chances to put them up 1-0, chances to get them level. So he's there on the end of him. Now it's just about putting them away. 10 goals this season, so he's going to be instrumental for Phoenix Rising tonight.
So which teams are we going to see? There should be some desperation in that crisp seaside air in Northern California, because you saw the standings, the Union and the Rising. They both desperately need 3 points. Are they going to get it? Who's going to get it? We're all going to find out. We'll get you our 11s and kickoff when we return to Cardinale USL Championship Soccer.
Julep, julep, julep. Coastal Roots Hospitality is a proud partner of the Monterey Bay Football Club. Coastal Roots Events and Catering, along with its 3 iconic restaurants, Montrio, Tarpe's, and Rio Grill, invite you to pick it up and pay it forward, where 10% of all proceeds from takeout orders are donated to various local charities. Their catering service and restaurants utilize local farms, butcheries, and ocean fresh sustainability-driven seafood to deliver unique and exemplary dining experiences. For more information, visit coastalrootshospitality.com.
Well, let's get right into our 11s. First off, for Frank Yallop, a man who knows this game extremely well, a 2-time MLS Coach of the Year. Here's his 11.
And you mentioned it before the break, a fascinating matchup, and I think this is a match that can be defined in the wide areas for Monterey Bay. Robinson, Donor out wide, and the services they can create for Chase Boone, for Valesky, and Alex Dixon, and the same goes for Juan Guerra and his Phoenix Rising side. The spacing that Munjoma can create on that wide area, and Darnell King, it all comes down to those initial services and the runs in the box, and see which team can play on the front foot early on here.
Olvin Oliva is our referee tonight. Unbelievably perfect weather conditions while most of the country is changing clothes every 5 minutes as they sweat through everything they own. It's 63 degrees in Seaside, California right now, and we'll get down to about 60 by the time we shut it down for the day. So these guys have got to be the happiest people on the planet playing in these conditions. One thing to note also for Phoenix Rising, Juan Guerra bringing Rocco Rios Novo back into goal. He did not play in the last game. More, I think, of a rest issue, realizing they had 2 games in 4 days. So he is back in for his 19th start in between the iron. Monterey in the blue, by the way.
And it's really a scenario in this matchup of really what gives. I mean, Phoenix Rising coming off the short rest, playing on Wednesday at Sacramento Republic, and then Monterey Bay having the week to prepare. But you know Phoenix Rising is going to want to bounce back from that 4-0 loss to Sacramento Republic. So really, those initial sequences and a lot of those plays early on are going to come to define this match in this first 45.
Well, you've been in this position as a coach. Not often, but you've had games where your players have had a difficult time and you've had a short turnaround. And then you've had to sit there in that minestrone for a week. Where would you rather do? Have a quick turnaround or spend a week and get better?
That's a great question, because I think that comes back to where your team is and what space they're in, because you go and look back at that match against Sacramento Republic. Phoenix Rising had some really good chances to take the lead and then even equalize after conceding that first goal. So for Phoenix Rising, do they feel like they left plays out there to go make? And I know throughout the season, Juan Guerra and Phoenix Rising, they continue to create chances, but it's about converting them now.
And Juan Guerra going to Twitter or X, whatever it may be now, day after the match, and kind of getting the message out to the fans for Phoenix Rising, this is not who we are, and I'm paraphrasing, and it made it a point to let them know that we're just as disappointed as you are. And so we'll see the quick, and he loves the quick turnaround. He said this to him was a blessing, that less time to worry about the past. What is the Ted Lasso line? What's the happiest animal? A goldfish. We like a goldfish because they lose their train of thought in 10 seconds. And I think that's what he's hoping for, that his team turns into goldfishes for this match.
Yeah, and the only counter argument to that, because I love that mentality and that approach, it's just now when you face that first sequence of challenging a scenario or you know, whether you go down a goal or you just face some negative play, things like that, does that grow into here we go again? And does that really start to build into some frustration from a previous match and it doesn't pertain to the present match? So that's the only thing you really want to tread lightly on is after a tough result like that. But I agree, I think some of those quick turnarounds are the best for sides, but you do have to make sure you get off to a fast start.
On the other hand, you've got Monterey, who's on this terrible run form right now, 0-4-1 in July, just 2 goals in the entire month. Their last win has been a month ago in a dramatic victory at home against Miami. And they've had a month to wonder about how do you break out of this. And Frank Yallop would just like to see his team kind of let that go mentally and just play the game. But I'm sure there are guys out there who are trying to kick a 5-point goal when, you only get one, and trying to win games single-handedly. corner kick, our first of the match for the Union. And headed away comfortably by the rising back line, but not out of danger just yet. In addition to the perfect temperature conditions, wind should not be any kind of a factor. Also, it's 5 to 6 miles an hour. So the fans will be comfortable, as will the athletes. No hydration break necessary.
And going back to what you were alluding to with Frank Yallop, and obviously we mentioned Juan Guerra and his thoughts. These are two coaches that are very comfortable, obviously not content with where their teams are and how they're playing, but they're really comfortable with what they have in front of them and what they can still accomplish. So really two sides that are definitely not pressing the panic button just yet, but they also know that they need to play with a sense of urgency and start collecting some results, because the last thing you want to do is put yourself in a situation where now with 5 or 6 games remaining, your playoffs start that early and every game becomes a results-driven match. And it's a lot better when you can start kind of gradually and collectively collecting some of those points here, whether it's on the road or at home. And I think that's where both these teams are in terms of creating chances and feeling really good about some of their performances.
Some clever moves there from Grant Robinson, number 12 from Monterey. We should mention, by the way, that man right there, Hugh Roberts II, his 250th USL appearance. And that puts him into the top 2 and 3 all time in USL Championship history. So congratulations to Hugh for being rock steady. This is just the second year of this Monterey franchise, by the way. Frank Yallop had them last year. They were not a playoff team a year ago. And Valesky, the target there, held back a little bit, goes down, fights back. He ends up actually fouling right in front of the referee, too, so an easy call to make. But Valesky showing his, again, you've got not just Dixon can score, but so can that guy. Valesky was 7 on the year.
59 goals in his USL Championship career. You mentioned it, that 3 up top, Alex Dixon, Valesky, Chase Boone. These are players that can be very dangerous. Chase Boone, 9 goals in his championship career. And Frank Yallop was very clear that this is, yes, they're creating, but it's time for them to start converting as well. So although these are teams that approach the game tactically and some of the principles of play are different, these are two teams that are almost facing the same sort of scenario.
Well, you can't say it enough in this match. You have 9th place and 11th place in a league that takes the top 8 in the Eastern and Western conferences. And there aren't many teams that can sit back and say, we're in. Pittsburgh can say it in the East. Sacramento can certainly say it in the West, and a couple of others, but there's still plenty of room, and there's 13 games remaining, counting tonight, for these sides to get their act together. And both Phoenix and especially, I think, Monterey have proven they are, at their best, a hard out. Neither team at their best at the moment. And Monterey making a signing during the week, Rafael Baca. Let's see what pressure here, trying to get it to Dixon and swept away by King. Not all the way out, long shot is blocked. Rebound blocked one more time. But Monterey trying a little softer. Valesky header, oh! And a magnificent save by Rios Novo. Valesky on point with that header.
Now Monterey Bay has really taken control of the momentum here in the first 8 minutes. They've played on the front foot. They've gotten good numbers in. But Rios Novo with that save, sometimes those are game-altering saves from a goalkeeper that now could swing momentum in the favor of his team. I mean, you look back and you see your goalkeeper make a save like that, and you're still at 0-0. It can really energize a group.
Well, if you look back at that replay, if he had not hung on to that, Alex Dixon was right there and could have breathed on it and got it into the back of the net. So Rios Novo, his 60th save of the season, is a potentially memorable one.
Because we talk about Juan Guerra and his team's approach to that quick turnaround, and obviously the quick turnaround to a 4-0 loss. But for Monterey Bay, you have the week to prepare, you're resting. I mean, really, you look at a situation where if Frank Yallop, you're telling your team, start fast. Every scenario, you're first to the tackle, you're first to 50, you know, everything play fast. If you can turn them over, win the ball higher up the field.
Well, Monterey Bay at their best is a fast break team. They turn it around very quickly, and that's one of the things that Juan Guerra is certainly worried about, is not letting Monterey have those breakouts. And that's one way of stopping it. Aggressively tackling on the ball. No call there. Kai Green had it taken away, but Monterey Bay wins it. Battle for possession. And finally won away by Armanakis for Phoenix. And a good ball here down the left-hand side. And that is Arteaga, their leading goal scorer for the Rising with 10. 40 shots he's taken already this season. And now Monterey, here is their chance at a breakout. Dixon sprinting into the middle. Now goes wide right as the ball goes to Robinson. Set up, and they're trying to get Valesky on a one-timer. Rebound, and it comes all the way, and an easier save there for Rios Novo than the first one he had to make. But Monterey, the last 4 minutes now, the aggressor.
And here's that introduction to that wide play. Robinson joining the sequence, laying that ball off to Chase Boone, but it runs through. They've tested Rios Novo here early. It's been up to the challenge. Simon Dawkins with that take from outside the 18-yard box, and it almost seems like a very cautious approach from Phoenix Rising right now, that you don't see that typical, the numbers that are committed to that final third. I mean, you've seen a lot of 1v1 matchups and not a lot of patience where you can join and get numbers forward, whereas in Monterey Bay, once they regain possession,
pretty obvious foul there, and an easy one as Roberts was hugged.
That just tells you where Phoenix feels like this game is trending. They get dispossessed. Monterey Bay finds themselves in really good shape.
That was actually Boone who whiffed on that shot. You start to assume it's Valesky anytime there's a shot around the box, but it was actually Boone. And he has a goal and 3 assists on the year. Roberts, the captain for this match tonight for Monterey Bay, while King is the captain for Phoenix Rising. And just in the early going here, Eric, and possession stats, everything statistically heavily favoring the Union. And Rios Novo will get there ahead of everyone else.
And it hasn't just been possession along the back line and side to side. I mean, they've been able to find some of these penetrating passes in some of those wide areas. So Phoenix Rising has to be careful, although there's only been really one clear-cut opportunity on Rios Novo. They're getting pinned in pretty deep.
They have yet to get a shot on frame. We haven't even talked about the terrific goalkeeper for Monterey Bay, a rising star, I think, in this league, Anthony Siaha. We have not yet seen his 6'6" frame have to do very much.
Five clean sheets this season, 13 in his career. As you mentioned, a rising star, just so commanding in his box, good shot stopper.
2 penalty kick saves already this year. And that's all in 14. This is his 15th start. So you're talking about 5 clean sheets in 14 games is a pretty sweet pace. And I think hopefully Frank Yallop can hang on to him. I'm sure Frank probably feels the same way. Doesn't need me to speak. Robinson with a steal of an errant pass. Might not have been able to maintain control. He didn't, as the referee's assistant with the correct call there. The ball did get over the sideline, but Robinson's been very active in the opening 14 minutes of this match here. For that man right there, Frank Yallop, two-time MLS Coach of the Year, had great success in San Jose and other stops along MLS. Now in his second year, the only coach this franchise has had. Of course, they're only in their second year. 12th place last year. They kept, and that's the other thing, Eric, that's really fascinating. This Monterey team is essentially unchanged. Phoenix, on the other hand, 20 different players from a year ago, and that last year was not a typical Phoenix Rising season.
Yeah, and again, both teams, you mentioned it, Monterey Bay, their second season, and the changes within Phoenix Rising and Juan Guerra's side. They're both building in different ways in terms of, you mentioned the continuity from Monterey Bay from last season to this season, so they're hoping that that foundation can continue to grow and gel and really create a rhythm. And for Phoenix Rising, same, you have a lot of changes, so a newer squad, it's gonna take some time, so really patience from both sides are required. But Frank Yallop talked about how competitive this league is, and because you look across this roster, whether you look at Arteaga, you look at Crutzen in the back for Phoenix Rising, you look at Panos, I mean, so many high quality players, and then you look at Monterey Bay and Valesky and Alex Dixon. I mean, these two squads are filled with really talented players, so it just goes back to how difficult this league is, and Frank Yallop said teams go through tough patches.
Moby Fear intercepting a kind of a lazy pass, and then fortunately Simon Dawkins making his third start of the year, number 8 for Monterey Bay. Got a little soft with that pass as well, and there's another turnover. Robinson with another steal, and he'll get it back to the captain.
And that's what came back to haunt them in that Sacramento Republic match on Wednesday, was just casual turnovers. You're really not being pressed that hard and at a high rate, so you're just casually turning the ball over, giving the ball right back to your opponent, and that's something that's going to frustrate Juan Guerra.
Fair. Robinson, a lot of action on that left side for Monterey so far this evening, with Robinson leading the way. Valesky trying to direct the traffic where he would like to see the ball go. That's Boone, 31. And that's going to have to be a foul, and that's, Boone knows it. Might get the ref to give him a little bit of hard time over that one, but I think Boone understood that he messed up there.
And in that sequence, you could see a bit of frustration from Maury Donor not getting that ball to switch sides of the field. As you mentioned, a lot of their play coming from this left flank with Robinson and Chase Boone. And Maury Donor is trying to get his side to play that right flank a bit more as well. And
looked like even Valesky had signaled for Roberts to go to that direction, and Roberts chose not to. So the players may feel the same way, as Phoenix is just having a terrible time maintaining a possession, never mind any kind of build-up at the moment anyhow. They are floundering a little bit.
And this is not what we saw on Wednesday, although the scoreline may speak differently. You saw a Phoenix side that still played its brand of football and really expansive and on the ball, good possession. Just haven't been able to grow into this match quite yet, 18 minutes in.
Armanakis had it briefly after a strong run by Harvey, but there's just zero flow at the moment. The good news for the Phoenix Rising folks is there's no score in this, no goals in this match. Our score is 0-0. There's the long ball for Boone, and it'll be booted back, and Boone guilty of a foul that time, taking down Funamayor.
And although it's led to 3 fouls, 2 on Boone and 1 on Valesky, this front line for Monterey Bay has already made a statement with the way they're gonna really press and be a force for this back line for Phoenix Rising to deal with tonight.
Some other action going on here already. Oakland and Detroit Detroit, the team that beat Monterey, 1-1 in this match out in Oakland in the 18th minute. Meantime, Orange County, New Mexico, no one's found the back of the net in that one. Those are games that are going on still to come. Vegas and Sacramento. And tomorrow we'll have Switchbacks taking on San Diego. See the referee's assistant with that call there. And a rare thrust for Phoenix so far. There's a good look at Anthony Siaha. And if he looks tall to you on your device, he is 6'6". A lot of legs there. And the thing I noticed about him, though, in the few games I've watched him, is despite the fact that he's tall, he can get down very quickly. And, you know, they always say you try to get the big guys on the ground.
Yep.
And that doesn't seem to apply to him.
Yep. No, you make a great point, and that's why he really showcases a lot of the attributes that high-level goalkeepers, and obviously Rios Novo on the other side as well. But as you mentioned, with a lot of these taller goalkeepers, you try to beat them low, but Siaha always doing a tremendous job of getting down quickly.
Juan Guerrero, Natalie attired in the tactile neck, if you're an Archer fan. Slightly darker black, and has some commands for his side. Juan was an assistant coach with Phoenix a couple of years ago, and had an opportunity to coach Oakland, and decided instead he wanted to go back to Phoenix when that job opened up. Whistle there, and forget about that shot. It's going to be a foul against the Union.
Juan Guerra instructing his team to go into a 4-2-3-1. So obviously feeling like his side is getting a bit overwhelmed in those wide areas and trying to weather this storm a bit for Monterey Bay. No doubt that Arteaga is going to be that target forward as that one. Allows you to overload the midfield as well.
There's a switch there to Darnell King, who's moved up. Hasn't had much of a chance to move up, really, in this match. And again, another pass that just sort of floats aimlessly, and Phoenix turns it over. Now a chance here. Arteaga lays it off just outside the box. Arteaga has a clean shot off the post. Oh, another opportunity. Now Siaha was inching over, but still from that distance, Manuel Arteaga unable to cash.
And as much momentum as Monterey Bay has had, turnovers like this can hurt any team. And you see the intervention there on the opportunity for Panos, but it still falls to the feet of Arteaga, and he tries to lace one in the upper corner past Siaha, but catches the woodwork.
Can you imagine you've been dominating this game all along as the Union has been, and then suddenly you make that one mistake and you could have been down a goal.
That just shows you how cruel this game can be sometimes. You can really own possession, own the opportunities, but give the opponent a chance winning the ball higher up the field like that. And two players, especially of the quality of Arteaga as well.
Another chance opportunity, and now Harvey breaks through, wide open. This is a goal for Phoenix. They're on the board. And this time Arteaga does not miss.
And we were just talking about how cruel this game can be, and just moments after Phoenix Rising switch out of a back three and go 4-2-3-1, they start winning the ball higher up the field. They get Arteaga and numbers forward. Good win there by Harvey, and then really good awareness to know where Arteaga is, laying that ball across the 6-yard box.
That'll be Arteaga's 11th goal of the season. He's right up there for the Golden Boot and USL Championship. And Carlos Harvey, that'll be his first assist of the year. He had been very pesty the last couple of moments for Phoenix, couple of minutes, I should say. And he comes up with a great run that time and the build-up. And suddenly, Phoenix has grabbed a 1-0 lead. And now the team that is winless in July, their final game in July, thank goodness for Monterey Bay FC. Now the Union's going to be tested right here. How do they handle it? There's plenty of time to recover. But can they get back the form that had dominated the first 20-some minutes of this match? And you said it earlier, Eric, the oh no, not again mentality. And that's going to be across the sideline and be a throw in for the Union.
Yeah, because we mentioned it from the Phoenix Rising side, but it's from the Monterey side as well. I mean, in the form they're in, 0-4-1, navigating some of the negative moments that are going to present themselves naturally in a 90-minute match. I mean, like you mentioned, you have those oh no moments or not again moments where you replay some of the sequences that you've had to face throughout the season, and you've either overcome them or you've succumbed to some of those results. And for Phoenix, I mean, really bend but don't break mentality in that first 25 minutes or so, and finding a goal to go up 1-0.
That's going to be a foul pretty easily. Arteaga's going to complain about it, but I don't know if he can. I think he took Roberts down.
Playing right through the back of Hugh Roberts.
But that was another mini break for Phoenix. And they have suddenly become the aggressor. And Monterey now. Look at this. That's just a careless, it's like these teams, it's like that movie Face Off, Travolta and Nicolas Cage. They've exchanged faces. And suddenly, Phoenix is dominating.
As soon as Juan Guerra made that change, it's asked a bunch of different questions to Monterey Bay. Now it's up to Monterey Bay to problem solve and really find the other areas that become available for them in this shape. Not to get frustrated. And as you mentioned, there's plenty of time, so you're not going to get overly frustrated. But now for Monterey Bay, it's about not conceding a second. And as you mentioned, the switch has almost been flipped, and this script has gone the other way.
There's an opportunity here. Amanakis, will he shoot it from distance? He might have thought about it. The stunning last few minutes. If you just sat down, you think, oh, Phoenix is kicking them all over the pitch. No, it didn't start that way. But the last 6 minutes, it is really reversed very dramatically. And Monterey Bay unable to take advantage of their chances. And man, that has changed. Arteaga, by the way, now tied with Cicerone at the top of the league with their 11th goals. Roberts. And he's going to get the call. You could possibly hear him on our microphones go, what? And then he realized, oh, wait a minute, great call, ref.
I think Juan Guerra really understands the importance of really pushing his team through the line here. Not that this game's nearly finished, but he really feels that swing of momentum as we're talking about. So he feels like if his team could find a second goal here before the break, that could really change the complexion and approach to both sides.
Well, just to go back to what we talked about in the open, in the month of June when Monterey Bay, well, hang on here, let's see if they have something together. This time trying the right flank. Lays it off nicely here, an opportunity for Dawkins, and it's rejected. So Monterey had 8 goals in June, didn't lose a match. They looked fantastic. Now in July, they've had 2 goals. They've been shut out 3 times. Actually had a ball boy on the pitch there momentarily. He quickly ran off before anything got out of hand. The referee kept the play going. A lot of crisp and kelp down there at the moment, but not able to penetrate what Phoenix has going. Phoenix with Arteaga's 11th goal of the season with the advantage on a beautiful assist from Carlos Harvey. I don't know, Eric, maybe this is too early to say this, but you feel like if there's another goal in this game, it's going to tell us who's going to win. If Monterey comes back, you feel like it's a fresh start. And Phoenix goes up 2-0. I don't know. It's going to be a long climb now for a team that's having a hard time putting the ball in the back of the net.
I would agree with that sentiment. I think this game has had its ebbs and flows already here in the first 29, 30 minutes, and I think it saw a Phoenix Rising team really come out, maybe, I don't want to use the word flat, but really they were getting exposed in different spaces. Obviously they made the adjustment in their shape, but now I think it's leaving Monterey Bay asking a lot of questions, and I think if Phoenix can put a second one away, it's going to really change. And then for Monterey Bay, if they can find the equalizer, you just see a renewed confidence, because they were all over Phoenix Rising in that first 10, 15 minutes.
Not anymore. In fact, the last time Monterey had any kind of a threat, it seemed like there were 25 Phoenix players back there. Yeah, everybody was covered, and they couldn't get anything even remotely close to being on net. Look how far back Alex Dixon is at this point. And it loses it. He got it back as Darnell King blocked his effort on the pass, and Dixon was really lucky the King didn't break through. Rebelar drops it off for Boone, and nothing there as Rios Novo made sure that was the end of that.
When we talk about the differences of these teams, the principles of play, but how similar they are in the situation they're in terms of their inconsistency in both boxes. As you mentioned, June scoring 8 goals and playing really well defensively, and Phoenix is going through different spells as well, obviously conceding the 4 on Wednesday. But both of these coaches, especially when we talked to Frank Yallop, mentioning that game-changing moments have come to define a lot of the outcomes that they've seen thus far this season, and it goes back to that adage, goals change games, and I think timely goals change games.
Looking for Valesky. Harvey gets ahead on that, and it's going to set up our second corner kick of the match for the Union.
You might see it in a match like this where Monterey Bay really owning the tempo and owning the momentum, unable to find a goal, and then all of a sudden the flip from Phoenix Rising, and you start turning over Monterey Bay higher up the field, have numbers committed forward, and then ball from Harvey to Arteaga, and they're up 1-0. See what Monterey Bay can do on this set piece.
Robinson comes out low, and really nothing there at all, no threat. Well, it's interesting. One of the things USL does is, while a game is going on, standings reflect the current result. So at the moment, Phoenix is now 7th. Monterey Bay. There's an opportunity for Boone. He whiffed on it. Drops it off for Dawkins. Dixon has a chance. Now here goes. Oh, what a rip, and a great save by Rios Novo. Dixon had that going for the upper right corner, and Rios Novo stopped it.
And we talked about the save Rios Novo made earlier on in the match, as maybe flipping that energy for Phoenix Rising. And what a save this is on Alex Dixon. Trying to curl it into that upper corner, and Rios Novo up to the challenge.
And there's it. Oh, the equalizer was on the head. I think that's Roberts. And it was wide.
Service in that catches Rios Novo, caught on his line.
He catches that right, we are tied.
And for an experienced player like Hugh Roberts, he knows it. You can see the reaction right after the play. As you mentioned, he feels like if he just catches it right and it puts it anywhere on frame, it's in the back of the net.
You have to be careful here if you're the Union, because quick counterpunch being thrown by Phoenix, and now they back down just a little bit, back off, I should say. Yeah, right now Monterey Bay is 10th. That's one of my favorite things about USL. The standings never static when it's game day.
Well, and then it goes to show you that as poorly as some of the runs that these two teams have had, they're right there in the thick of it. I mean, 3 points either way, I mean, puts you right in the playoff picture. I mean, as you mentioned, with the live standings, Phoenix Rising sitting 7th above that playoff line.
And we have a player down for Phoenix. Can't quite see who it is. Might be a cramping issue, which is a little surprising given the weather conditions, but we've also had a fairly quick turnaround. Gives me a chance to run down the finals from today. Pittsburgh defeating Memphis 4-2. It was Charleston over Birmingham 2-1. Miami in a long game, 8 minutes of stoppage time, held down Loudoun 2-1. Tampa Bay over Tulsa 3-0. And a big rivalry, Lou City and Indianapolis, Indy 11, 2-0 for Louisville in that one. And RGV defeating El Paso today 5-2, another derby that was a completely one-sided affair. As we take a look, I believe that's Crutzen, number 4, Daniel Crutzen, who just stopped, period.
As you mentioned, it could be attributed to that short turnaround.
Also, San Antonio Hartford in a 2-2 battle, and Hartford, I guess, has the help wanted sign out for a new head coach. It didn't take Wikipedia long to get to the firing of Todd Ramos. If you go look him up on Wikipedia, it says former head coach of Hartford Athletic, but they're fighting San Antonio today.
And San Antonio coming off a tough loss to Miami FC. Played much of the match down a player, but had found that one goal at full strength and held on for that 1-0 win over San Antonio. Now, as you mentioned, in another tough battle with an Eastern Conference opponent in Hartford Athletic. And we talk about balance in both boxes. Hartford, -16 goal differential. I mean, it's tough to win when you're conceding and not scoring at the rate that you need to be. And Pittsburgh Riverhounds with a come-from-behind victory today against Memphis. Down 1-0, got it to 1-1, down 2-1, got it to 2-2, and then eventually winning 4-2. Charleston Battery as well, getting a result to climb to second in the East, or climb back to second in the East.
No sub, there's no sub.
So here you may be able to hear, it might be Juan Guerra just telling the fourth official, no sub. Crutzen is on the sideline waiting for permission to return. He didn't look all that good, I'll be honest. I've seen more enthusiasm leaving the pitch to the sidelines than that. He still might be a bit shaken, but he does is lined up to come back in.
And for Juan Guerra and Crutzen, you hope that he can make it to this end of the first half, so at least you can better evaluate the situation and talk about potential moves if you have to. But what you don't want to do is flip all of that hard work that you did getting back into this match and being up 1-0.
Get out the pickle juice.
Number 8 is injured.
Quick fix.
I don't know if it works or not, but
I
actually kind of like it. I've done it. I've tried it.
Seen the mustard packets, I've seen the pickle juice.
Mustard packets?
Yeah.
No, that's a new one to me. The pickle juice, I've literally, if there's a jar of pickles in the house and there's more juice than pickles, you know what that's, you know.
Yep.
I will sup from the jar of pickle juice. Absolutely. And now if you've noticed in grocery stores, there are pickle juice shots.
See?
Little tubes about an ounce of pickle juice for quick hydration.
It does look like on the sideline that Juan Guerra is prepping a substitute.
Well, the sides are equal. So Crutzen's going to try to play through this as best he can. And he's not going to be able to finish. So going to the bench will be Phoenix. Jose Hernandez will take over.
It looked like initially they had dropped Harvey to play as that second center back. Let's see if that's what Juan Guerra and his team stay with the introduction of Hernandez.
Danny Trejo, by the way, we hardly mentioned number 17 for the Rising. Trejo has 8 goals this year and 3 assists. So he and Arteaga are equal to Valesky and Dixon as far as the deadly combos in this league. And Fuenmeyer has become the villain in this match for the Monterey faithful anyway. Got to be careful here as Phoenix being super aggressive. And there's King. Gets it back on a give and go. They're looking for Arteaga. They found him. He lays it off. Trying to turn, shot deflected, and it's going to go away. I believe we're going to get our first corner kick opportunity now for the Rising.
Really good hold-up play there by Arteaga, allowing Munjoma to enter the 18-yard box and earn their side a corner kick.
Looks like it's going to be Armenakis to take it. I would think Harvey and well, Munjoma might be difficult to deal with in this situation. Instead, it's going to be Uzachuwu who will handle the corner kick responsibilities. And referee blows it dead. They'll try again. Big floater, dangerous, and it's going to be off the head of one of the Phoenix players in that traffic jam. And an opportunity for Anthony Siaha to go instead with a short distribution. Playing the long ball, too long in this case. Might get just a couple of minutes of stoppage time at the most, mainly because of the problems for Daniel Crutzen, unable to finish the match. He needed some medical attention on the pitch before being substituted for. Something else about Phoenix we didn't mention, they haven't lost a match when they've scored first this season. 6-0-5, I believe, when they score first.
And I know as coaches and as teams, you know that every game has a story of its own, and it's going to have its own challenges and successes, but a stat like that, I mean, you really build upon trends, and that's a trend for Phoenix Rising. There's something about it that when you score first, whether it just energizes your group collectively defensively, as I mentioned, every game is so different, but those trends begin to tell a story as well.
Yeah, they have 6 wins and 3 draws, so it's not 6-0-5, it's 6-0-3. On the road, they have 3 wins, 5 defeats, and 3 draws. So, yeah, and by the way, when the opponent scores first, they haven't won yet. They've come back and earned draws 5 times, but they've lost 6. So if you're a trend follower, then things are looking good for the Rising.
And even on the ball, they've just looked a lot more comfortable. The conversion rate's a lot higher, and it's not just the side-to-side conversion rate. They're finding a lot of good forward passes as well. In this first 15 minutes, the first half, Arteaga was getting on the ball, but he was getting on the ball in a lot of deeper positions, really in the Phoenix Rising half. And as this first half has grown into what Phoenix Rising has done, Arteaga getting on the ball a lot more 30, 40 yards away from frame instead of 80 yards away, 60 yards away.
Big fight for the ball, and Monterey wins it temporarily. And some folks not overly thrilled with the way that turned out. They're not very happy with Uzachuwu and the physical play he demonstrated there, but Phoenix will turn it over and allow Monterey to throw in. Your time running out in this opening half. Phoenix with the goal in the 23rd minute from Manuel Arteaga, his league-tying best 11th goal in the battle for the Golden Boot. Looks like we may get as many as 3 minutes of stoppage time is the rumor. But you don't want to push a guy in the back and the ref is like 10 feet away from you. Even if it's not a blatant push, and that wasn't a violent act or anything like that, but man, referee's right there.
I always love it when there's an appeal for what the call was for.
You're appealing the guy who just called it. You think he's going to go, yeah, you're right. I was having a bad day. Forgive me. That's like jamming the accelerator to the floor when you see the highway patrolman. I'll show him. That might have been a bit of a sloppy exchange. Can Monterey Bay FC do something about it? One touch there. Trying to get service for Valesky or Dixon, but too low. Throw in coming up. Maybe a chance here for the Union to put some pressure on in the final 2 or 3 minutes.
No. Please confirm.
Roberts missed on the pass. Got to be careful here. Arteaga knows exactly what he's doing, and he comes away with it. Of all the people Monterey Bay couldn't afford to have the ball, it's him. Now he tries the service, and a great play there by Kai Green to get rid of it.
The fourth official has indicated an additional 3 minutes.
Yep, and our rumors were true. There you go. Now maybe a counterpunch here for the Union. Down that left side. That's Grant Robinson making his 8th start of the year, and it didn't work that time. Roberts may have to go back, and he does, to Siaha. We'll say the Union's showing a little bit more life in the last couple of minutes, just not able to do anything with it, but they look livelier.
I talked about the pressure early on that Chase Boone and Valesky and Alex Dixon were putting on the back line of Phoenix Rising, and it's been Arteaga really forcing some tough play out of the back for Monterey Bay. And
nope, turned over. A little bit too light on that touch. That was a push right in front of the ref. That wasn't called, and now opportunity. Trejo fires, and it's the back of the net. Danny Trejo's 9th goal of the year, and it's 2-0 Phoenix.
And this is recognizing when you can go forward, you win the ball in your own defensive half, but it takes some 2-3 passes and it unlocks that space in behind for Danny Trejo. And being calm, cool, collected, puts it right by Siaha. And that is the goal that Juan Guerra and his team were looking for before the break. And really tough turn of events for Monterey Bay. As you mentioned, really just starting to get that energy back, really starting to find their footing. And Arteaga dropping back to get on the ball, playing it off to Armanakis, and what a ball played in by Armanakis to Danny Trejo.
Yeah, that should be his 5th assist on the year, Armanakis. That was an unbelievable pass. And Trejo drew the big goalie out, but he had a spot, I'm sure, picked out, and it worked out perfectly. So the 2 big scores for Phoenix have come through. Arteaga was 11th, and Trejo with his 9th, and they may have one last burst in them before we take the break, and a beautiful tackle by Rebelar.
You talk about the live standings, really, for Phoenix Rising, it would be put them in a tie for 6th with Colorado Springs Switchbacks with 29 points and only a point behind 5th place San Diego Loyal.
Well, there was a great reward for whoever's going to win this match to put themselves into the top 8, put themselves into the playoff table. And that is our half. And what a strange turnaround this was. For 20-plus minutes, the Union dominated the action. They gave up a goal. And just when it looked like Monterey Bay was coming back, Phoenix goes to their other great goal scorer, Danny Trejo, to make it 2-0 for a team that not only has never lost when they've scored first this season, but they are 5-0-3 when they score 2 goals or more. So there are lots of trends pointing in the direction of the team from Arizona as we head to the dressing room for halftime. 2-0, Phoenix Rising over Frank Yallop as he tries to figure out exactly what he's going to have to do to get his players to perform better in the second half. Beautiful weather at Cardinale Stadium, but the result goes to the team that plays when it's 100 degrees, not 60. Phoenix Rising in front.
Julep, pop, 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 julep, pop, 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 julep, pop, 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 woo!
Are you paying too much for your car insurance? Call Coast Auto Insurance to receive a free quote and see how much you could save. Coast works with over 50 different insurance companies to make sure you get the best rate for your car, motorcycle, home, or business. Coast is a local company with local people. We do vehicle registration, SR22, and insurance for Mexico. Call Coast Auto Insurance today for a free quote and see how much we can save you. Or go to coastautoinsurance.com, where your peace of mind is.
We're at intermission, and it's brought to you by Integris Wealth Management with Eric Dabrowski, Dave Lamont. Delighted you could join us here. Cardinale Stadium, the site, Seaside, California, with the home team in big trouble as Phoenix Rising counterattacking brilliantly up 2-0. Let's take a look ahead for the Union and what's up next. And what is that frying pan fire analogy? This isn't any better. You're taking on the top team in the West on Saturday on ESPN Plus, Sac Republic.
And it's going to be that turnaround that Phoenix Rising was looking for after that Sacramento Republic side game as well. But obviously Monterey Bay still plenty of time to get back into this match. But as you mentioned, tough matchup here, Sacramento Republic, and it really doesn't get any easier. They away at Tampa Bay Rowdies and then away at San Antonio FC as well.
You know what's funny here? This is from the Phoenix match, those goals. It looks so much different now. And by the way, also for Monterey Bay FC, they're dealing with Arteaga tonight, who has 11 goals. And who are they playing next? Cicerone, who has 11 goals.
Yeah, it doesn't get any easier for Monterey Bay, and we see that the road games to Tampa Bay, that's a long trip. Then you go to at San Antonio and at Colorado Springs Switchbacks and El Paso. Woo. All teams that are above the playoff line, so all teams that are looking to push for the playoffs. So Monterey Bay is going to have to go and get some results. 4 of the 5 being on the road.
They're going to have to get some rest is what they're going to have to do. At least they don't have any midweek games in there, but that is a tough stretch. But they've got to navigate through 45-plus minutes of a very difficult stretch in the second half. If they're even going to rally just to get 1 point out of this match, trailing by 2. We'll take a look around the USL Championship when we return.
Are you ready? Ready for more of the game you love? Ready for more players and more teams? Ready for more stadiums, for more fans in more cities? This is a different league. The USL Super League. Built for the future of women's soccer. Bridging the journey from youth to pro, connected to the global game, and bringing it all closer to home. Are you ready?
We all have goals. But let's be honest, most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Colorado Springs, Enriquez. Header down on Bird! Jimmy Oxford gets one back for Colorado Springs.
Well, on the goal line, a second one finds Twine. And Philip Goodrum in the 89th minute, the potential game-winning goal.
Coastal Roots Hospitality is a proud partner of the Monterey Bay Football Club. Coastal Roots Events and Catering, along with its 3 iconic restaurants, Monterey, Tarpey's, and Rio Grill, invite you to pick it up and pay it forward, where 10% of all proceeds from takeout orders are donated to various local charities. Their catering service and restaurants utilize local farms, butcheries, and ocean-fresh, sustainability-driven seafood to deliver unique and exemplary dining experiences. For more information, visit coastalrootshospitality.com.
Well, the fans are hanging in. It is scarf and hoodie weather, around 60 degrees in Seaside, California at Cardinale Stadium. And it's also kind of cold if you're a Monterey Bay FC fan, because as you see, their side is down 2 at halftime. So let's get around the USL Championship with some news and notes. Unscramble the board, and here we go. Ryan Telfer, Miami FC forward, the championship player of the week, presented by Konami eFootball. Miami with a nice win tonight over an always pesky Loudon side. Nicky Long is the new head coach for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Seems like at this point, I could coach the Tampa Bay Rowdies and at least get in the playoffs.
Yep.
After that, we're done. Yep. And the big USL Summer Showcase, FC Tulsa versus Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC. It's August 9th at 9 Eastern time. But good for Nicky Law. He'll be very happy to be back home at Al Lang.
And Ryan Telfer scoring the game winner for Miami FC tonight over Loudoun United. We see Nicky Law getting the 3-0 win over FC Tulsa tonight as we see the scoreboard. And that FC Tulsa Tampa Bay Rowdies game was 0-0 at half. Tampa Bay Rowdies turning it up in the second, finding 3 goals. We talked about it in the first 45. In this match, Pittsburgh Riverhounds down 1-0, 1-1, got it to 2-2, and then found 2 other goals to win 4-2. Birmingham Legion had a late lead. Charleston Battery come back for the 2-1 win, and then RGV 5-2 over El Paso, a team that's below the playoff line, beating El Paso Locomotive. And then Lou City getting a result from an Indy 11 team that was really trending in the right direction, a 2-0 win against Pittsburgh Riverhounds, which was huge.
Take a look at the upcoming schedule. The one match tomorrow, San Diego Loyal SC versus Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC. And then Wednesday, Loudoun versus Memphis. Friday night, you got plenty of USL Championship action for you with Charleston and Oakland, FC Tulsa and Lou City. And then the Switchbacks again going at it, this time against Birmingham Legion FC at 6 o'clock Pacific time. Perfect evening, but not a perfect result unless, of course, you are for the Phoenix Rising side. Their top 2 goal scorers have come through. We'll show you what happened in the first half when we return on the Integris Wealth Management Halftime Report.
Coastal Roots Hospitality is a proud partner of the Monterey Bay Football Club. Coastal Roots Events and Catering, along with its 3 iconic restaurants, Monterey, Tarpey's, and Rio Grill, invite you to pick it up and pay it forward, where 10% of all proceeds from takeout orders are donated to various local charities. Their catering service and restaurants utilize local farms, butcheries, and ocean fresh sustainability-driven seafood to deliver unique and exemplary dining experiences. For more information, visit coastalrootshospitality.com.
Are you paying too much for your car insurance? Call Coast Auto Insurance to receive a free quote and see how much you could save. Coast works with over 50 different insurance companies to make sure you get the best rate for your car, motorcycle, home, or business. Coast is a local company with local people. We do vehicle registration, SR22, and insurance for Mexico. Call Coast Auto Insurance today for a free quote and see how much we can save you. Or go to coastautoinsurance.com, where your peace of mind is guaranteed.
Phoenix getting a goal in the 47th minute. That's a real backbreaker when you're already up 1-0 or down 1-0, and all of a sudden it's 2 before you get a chance to take that pickle juice shot to rehydrate. So let's go back, Eric, to the highlights, and let's see if we have that early save, because now we're going to go right to action here with Harvey, and the layoff perfect, and Arteaga does not miss from there.
And this is where Phoenix Rising really started to find success in the match, was when they started winning the ball higher up the field. Really good entry pass in, and then Harvey getting through Hugh Roberts, and then the simple little layoff to Arteaga, who knows exactly what to do in front of goal. And then Monterey Bay really hoping to find the equalizer, but looking to go down at least only 1-0. But this pass from Armanakis to Danny Trejo is tremendous. And then there, right at the end of this first half, Phoenix Rising create a second goal, putting themselves up 2-0.
This is such a cold-hearted shot. You see Siaha leans a little bit right, and it goes the other way, and he knows he's cooked. He did his best to cut down the angle, and at his size, he's good at it. But that shot by Trejo was absolutely clinical. And Union with more shots on target, better possession. They have more corner kicks. No discipline. It's been a pretty cleanly played match so far. But the one stat that counts all above the rest is the first one. Phoenix Rising now above the playoff top 8. With half of the game to go, and Monterey Bay looking to avoid an absolutely disastrous July where they would only pick up 1 point and would lose 4 games. But they're headed in that direction right now unless they can figure out something. What would you do for Monterey Bay Union? What can you do to try to get the offense reignited?
It's tough because that first 10-15 minutes of that first half, you really thought Monterey Bay was controlling the tempo, really creating at will. You see those stats again. I mean, the 3 shots on target for Monterey Bay, and then the 2 shots on target for Phoenix Rising. Obviously, 2 of those resulting in goals. And I don't want to say it's about upgrading the shot, because again, I think you've got to make sure that you're creating the opportunities for Monterey Bay. But you go back to it with 2 terrific saves by Rios Novo, the one on the header from Valesky early on in the first half, and then the one on Alex Dixon's shot in that upper left corner, or Rios Novo going to the left. But for Monterey Bay, it's about breaking this second half up into that first, at least attacking this first 15 minutes, trying to find one of the 2 goals you need. So really, from this 45 to the 60-minute mark, you want to be level, and that allows you to push for the equalizer and potentially the game winner.
Entering the pitch, number 23, Sam Glito.
So a substitution made for Monterey Bay FC, and Sam Gleedle has come into the match, number 23 for Adrian Rebelar. As far as we know, that's the only change from either of our 2 coaches. We had a substitution for Phoenix Rising forced by injury. Daniel Crutzen unable to continue. And number 8, Jose Hernandez, took his place. Phoenix in the white, and the crisp and kelp. They've been the kelp, but they haven't been the crisp part of that equation.
And that was not the storyline in that first portion of the first half. I mean, they came out flying, and again, a lot of credit to the adjustments that Juan Guerra and his players have made throughout that first half. Really changed the momentum in the match.
Look out here as Arteaga pressing.
And now it's up to Frank Yallop and his side to respond, and I mentioned really breaking this half into 3 15-minute periods, and if you need to make any adjustments after the first 10-15 and you feel like there's different spaces to attack that can get you one back at least, because we talked about the road ahead for this Monterey Bay side.
Looks nasty.
4 of the 5 on the road. I mean, even Frank Yallop was very positive about these next 2 matches at home and how important it is to take care of points here at home as well. And
well, the arrival of Gleedle gives you somebody who can put the ball in the back of the net. 4 goals, 5 assists so far. This is his 16th appearance, number 23, midfielder. And I think I said 0-4-1. If they don't rally, they'd be 0-5-1 for July, Monterey Bay FC, if they can't come back and at least get a point. Right now, 1 point would feel like a victory if they can rally.
And not so much in that the first 15-20 minutes of the match for Phoenix Rising, but that last portion of the first half, Phoenix showing how scary they could be if they do make a push and make the playoffs. I mean, they could be a dangerous team to have to face early on.
Well, you get 2 goal scorers in Arteaga and Trejo, so that's important. You just can't knock one guy out because the other guy can burn you, and they both scored tonight. So that's a big factor right off the bat. And I'm glad you mentioned Rios Novo's saves, because we bookmarked that first one, and we both agreed the second one was even better.
Yep.
That shot by Dixon was hardcore, and it just, Rios Novo was better. He'll make the grab there.
And those are game-defining saves as well. We talked about maybe the lackluster start for Phoenix Rising, but when your goalkeeper makes a save like that and then follows it up with the one against Alex Dixon, you just have this renewed energy and this new spirit of going forward, and it's almost like a wake-up call sometimes for your back line and those playing in front of Rios Novo.
A little trouble with the footing that time for Trejo, but he's able to maintain possession, fighting through it all the way. Also interesting, I wonder, Eric, how conservative Juan Guerra might be with this lead, team playing well, all that. Oh, there's a good ball through here for Trejo. Can he get there in time? Kai Green will make sure he doesn't, and a goal kick coming up from Monterey Bay. So does he pull the reins in a little bit here?
It's tough because you're coming off a 4-0 defeat at Sacramento Republic, so you really want to make sure that you got your team fully plays that complete 90 minutes that you're looking for and fully executes at a high level, and especially for a team that wants to make a run. Their next 5 play San Antonio, the host San Antonio, who's towards the top of the West, El Paso, who's above the playoff line, RGV, Las Vegas Lights, so 2 teams that are below the playoff line, and then Sacramento again.
It's a great rundown by Dixon in the corner to chase that before it ended up being a goal kick. Simon Dawkins, Boone, working it around, Donor. And Dawkins, oh, beautiful control. Dawkins fires wide though. Spectacular effort by Dawkins, but the result ends up empty.
And I was having the same thought as you in terms of questioning, in terms of what does the squad rotation possibly look like for Juan Guerra. I think at 2-0, everything stays the same. I think you've got to really lock it down defensively, but I think if Phoenix can go find a 3rd goal, then it maybe does give you that breathing room to start making some of the changes, start to save some of the legs that quick turnaround really exposed. And
Dixon shoved down, and we are going to the spot. That's an error by Phoenix. And Monterey Bay, let's see who's going to take this opportunity. Will it be Valesky or Dixon? Dixon was taken down by Zambrano.
And just too eager on the tackle here from Zambrano. I mean, yes, Dixon gets around and you're worried about the possible entry pass, but all that momentum carrying you forward, you know that if you give the referee any look at whether it's a forearm or shoulder pressing on Alex Dixon there, I mean, now Rios Novo having to come up big and try to keep this a 2-0 advantage.
And now the mind games are underway. So it looks like it's going to be Sam Gleadle, who is fresh-legged. He entered the match in the second half. Everybody starts to surround the referee now to get into the head of the shooter, perhaps. Danny Trejo started complaining to the ref about the call. I don't know how you complain about that call. I know what Trejo's doing. That was pretty obvious that had to be a penalty kick. So we'll see what Gleadle does here. Oh, and it's saved by Rios Novo. The rebound comes out. Shot. Rebound is blocked. And the pain continues for Monterey Bay FC. And that flick is going to be wide. And a goal kick coming up.
And I don't want to take away anything from the goals that Phoenix Rising has scored tonight, but Rios Novo is single-handedly making some game-changing saves tonight. 2 in that first half. Now here on the penalty kick with Sam Gleadle. I mean, obviously not well struck by Sam Gleadle, not making the contact that he was looking to make.
But you still had to guess the right direction.
Correct.
Right? And then react and make the save. So that's the third big one for Rios Novo. So they'll try one more time, Monterey Bay FC. It looked like I thought the ball was struck first. That's a clean tackle.
And like I said, don't want to take away anything from the collective effort, but Rios Novo has really swung the momentum with some of the big saves he's made in this match.
That's just a smacker from way, way downtown. It actually wasn't that far off by Grant Robinson.
This is almost a mirror replica of the first 10 minutes or so that Monterey Bay had in the first half.
Minus the penalty kick, but you had the big save by Rios Novo. 2 of them as it turned out, but early on was the first one, the header versus Valesky. But if you're Monterey Bay FC right now, you're thinking, okay, what now? We had a penalty kick, couldn't convert it. We've had 2 really, really good shots, especially Dixon's. And yet we can't get a thing in, and that's going to end up, I think that should be a corner kick. And it is. Here's another opportunity now off of this time a set piece.
Well, I think Monterey Bay is answering the question in terms of they're continuing to get really good numbers forward. And as we mentioned, almost a repeat of that first 10, 15 minutes of the first half. But they have to reward themselves. Obviously, you have to turn the page from the penalty kick miss, but you have to find an opportunity.
Fear. Yep. That had some danger written on it. You just needed a taller. You needed somebody who's about 6'10" to put a head on that, but it wasn't far off. Rios Novo doing the right thing. You know, we don't have a man of the match feature, but I would vote for him. Even though you've got the goal scorers, and Arteaga's also been a real terrific player today for Phoenix, but Rios Novo's had a massive impact and almost had to work extra hard on that play. And if I'm Juan Guerra, I'm a little concerned about my team's concentration right now.
And I was going to say, and Juan Guerra on his side, I mean, although they're up 2-0, you saw it in the first half, and now you see it at the start of the second half. They've come out of the gates a little sluggish in both halves. And we talked about the possible, you know, what does he do if they stay 2-0 or if they go up 3-0? That is out the window because they really need to start getting a grasp of this game again, or else Monterey Bay is going to make it very interesting. And this goes back to what each team, especially if you're a team like Phoenix and Monterey Bay that are trying to get above that playoff line and be one of those scary teams that teams don't want to play in the playoffs, you need to start playing complete 90-minute matches. And right now, Phoenix not doing so. Probably a good 20-25 in that first half.
This is Chase Boone. Got Donor behind him if he wants to go that way, and does. I don't think that's going to make it. That's going to be out of play. If you could, this is where an NBA coach would call a timeout.
Yep.
And remind them, we haven't won anything yet.
Yep.
And can you please bring back the intensity I saw for the last 30 minutes of the first half?
Agreed, and it's been something that as a coach I've been appealing for years. But to be fair, it is what makes this game so unique and beautiful, is having to deal with the ebbs and flows and having to problem solve within the match. But I agree with you. I would love a timeout and just kind of catch your breath and recenter your team. And obviously Phoenix doing a tremendous job in that first half, problem solving, and now it's Monterey Bay's turn. And
yeah, the referee there, I like what he did. He waited. Good job holding the advantage to make sure that the possession was lost by Monterey Bay as Dixon had his arm grabbed. And a reverse advantage.
That was a little late. He let Monterey Bay go a little far, and then appealing to the appeals of the bench for Phoenix Rising. But overall, consistently officiated match.
Hey, no cards.
Yep.
I'm happy with that. I'm sure that everybody's happy with that. And really, I can't think of anything that would even cause for a card, even to think about it. I mean, even the takedown in the box was not a difficult call, but it wasn't such a bad foul that you should penalize anybody for it. The penalty kick's supposed to be enough of a penalty.
Yeah, there was a moment in the first half where Chase Boone had consecutive fouls that you could see a referee pull out a yellow card for consecutive fouls, but again, nothing malicious. And as you mentioned with the penalty kick, the penalty kick is punishment enough, and especially in that situation for Renzo Zambrano.
Well, this is the only, well, hang on here, because this is more danger for Phoenix. Trejo was in potentially a position, but excellent job that time by the defense for the Union to get back, and Trejo not even able to get a shoelace on that.
Rios Novo looking to not only influence the night in the saves he's made, but that long pass was finding his team a 2-on-1 situation.
On our West Coast, 4 games going on right now. This is the only one with the team with a lead. It's still 1-1, Oakland and Detroit. Still 0-0, OC and New Mexico, and 1-1, Vegas and Sac Republic. So this is the only one with the team with the edge. Phoenix with goals from Arteaga and Trejo in the first half. Dixon again, looking for Valesky. It didn't quite work out. Boone also took a piece of that, or tried to, and it almost worked.
And Harvey's done a really good job of stepping in for Crutzen, who went down in that first half, going from his role in midfield to playing center back.
Phoenix has not lost a game this year where they've scored first. And they have yet to lose a game when they have 2 or more goals. Play on there, and now with a man down, we're going to get, and that's now there's poor discipline right there on the part of Phoenix and Hernandez. He didn't have to push a Monterey player. Let's go back and take a look at this whole thing one more time. So.
Looked like Darnell King being fouled by Kai Green, and as you mentioned, for Phoenix, just stay level here in terms of don't give Monterey Bay any reason to get back in this match as we see Valesky come off.
Sean O'Coley will come in for Christian Valesky, an interesting decision, given Valesky's scoring ability, but he just may not be having a good night. O'Coley, this is just his 3rd appearance. I'm sorry, his 10th appearance. He has 2 starts. He has an assist on the year.
Yeah, other than that early header by Valesky, really non-existent since, and we really liked the pressure that front 3 was putting on Phoenix Rising, but that really dimmed the change that Phoenix made, and those entry passes to Valesky really disappeared early in that first half. It was a lot of success out wide with Robinson and Donner.
And by the way, after all that sequence, no yellow cards awarded. And a delayed call. Fans getting as frustrated, I'm sure, as the Monterey Bay Union players are.
2 delayed calls, but I think that you look at it and they're both fouls, especially that one. I mean, it's delayed, but I can understand the frustration from the fans, but
well, it's that moment where you think, oh, we got to wait. Oh, they caught me. Got your hopes up for just a second, and that was a pretty easy one. And I think now I'm expecting the ref to get a little more aggressive here, just because you're starting to see a little bit more. And these fouls are pushy, shovey fouls. They're push people in the back. They're not necessarily what you call a run and play type foul where you're playing the ball. It's getting a little snippy, would be the right word here. So let's keep an eye on Oliva, our referee here, and see what he does.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, for Phoenix Rising, no reason to jump into that. Let Monterey Bay be the one that gets frustrated. You're holding a 2-0 lead. No reason to pick up a card or find yourself sent off for something away from play.
Ooh, that's just dangerous, period. And fortunately, the players did not knock heads, thankfully. Donor out to Boone. Looking O'Coley now taking that position. He charges, trying to get a head on it, but the ball was swept away before he even got there. Some cute footwork by Donor. Switching it wide to Fear. And that did not work out at all, and a goal kick coming up. Second appearance for the meeting between these two teams. The first one ended in a draw. Only the 4th appearance of these two teams against each other, and it's Phoenix holding a 1-win, no defeat, and 2-draw advantage so far. One thing that Monterey Bay is looking very much forward to is the arrival of Rafa Baca when he gets his visa situation. He came out of Cruz Azul in Mexico. a highly regarded player, has a great history with Frank Yallop going back to like 12 years ago in MLS with San Jose. And then Baca had a very, very nice run in Mexico. And he just signed, but due to visa issues, he is not available. They may have him, and they're going to need him in that August stretch. Boy, are they going to need him in that August stretch.
Yeah, and a signing that can really, if this result holds, revitalize and re-energize a side that is going to be down a bit. And as we mentioned, that 5-game stretch, 4 of which being on the road and 4 straight on the road, it's not even broken up.
No, that's nasty. And you're doing different time zones. You're going to Eastern time zone. You have a couple of Central time zones. Colorado Springs is on there, right? That's a mountain time. That's 3 different. Every time zone in America, except for Honolulu.
Well, the Colorado Springs switchback game is at home. That's
right.
one.
Okay, that's their time zone.
Yep. But the Sacramento Republic at home, and then they go to at Tampa Bay Rowdies, at San Antonio.
Central.
Oh, so it's not 4 consecutive.
Okay.
Sorry, my apologies.
That's all right.
And then it's El Paso.
Also a Central time zone. But, yeah, that's a lot. And one of the easier ones tonight for Rios Novo.
And for Phoenix Rising, getting to that 70th minute mark, you're going to want to try to take the air out of the ball. You're going to really take some moments and slow the game down. A lot of these restarts, you're not going to see a lot of urgency from Phoenix.
And there's a little summation of how the game is going, trying to get a build-up, and it doesn't go well. Ugo Okoli is an accomplished goal scorer, number 9. Formerly with Orange County. His career in USL Championship, he does have 34 career goals. So that substitution is not a complete mystery. Not like you just brought in a guy who does not have a background of being able to put the ball in the net. He definitely can do that. Monterey Bay FC right now laying everything bare on the offensive end. They have no choice. Trying to get something positive in what's been a disastrous month for them after a June where they were sailing along. And they had to think every reason that they were on their way to a playoff berth in just their second year. And back to Siaha.
We saw in the first half how quickly games can be flipped, and still over 20 minutes to be played. As we see another substitution for Frank Yallop in his side. Walmer Martinez coming on.
I believe he's going to come in for Dawkins. Well, this looks dangerous here. Lays it off for the header for Trejo, but Fair got there first, but they can't clear it out. Hernandez gets a piece of it. Looking for Trejo here, and Donor turns it away. And that's a foul. I mean, you can't argue that, and the player knew it too. So Martinez will come in, and he will indeed replace Simon Dawkins.
Really a frustrating night for Simon Dawkins.
Yeah, just his 3rd start of the year with Murphy out. That's another key player, not available tonight with leg injury.
Walmer Martinez.
Yeah, just unable to influence either side of the ball. Walmer Martinez,
formerly with Hartford. transfer back in 2021. So he's pretty much OG with this team.
And you talked about the continuity early in the first half, that this is a Monterey Bay side that has built some continuity with this roster, and they just struggle to find consistency. And sometimes when you have a young franchise, a young organization, that continuity amongst the roster really helps. But then it's starting to build that depth as well, and I think that's where Monterey Bay and Frankie Allop are. They made a really good run in US Open Cup, so they added games to this season, so that depth continues to get tested as well. But you talk about the signing of Rafa Baca, I mean, those are pieces that long-term really improve this side, and there's a bright future for this organization.
Scores are holding, by the way, on the West Coast. Oakland and Detroit still 1-1, still waiting for someone to score in Orange County and New Mexico. And Vegas and Sacramento have gone to the dressing rooms for halftime, 1-1. A little bit of plenty of room to run here. And a quick turnaround perhaps for Monterey. Boone, this is what they do well, the fast break, and there's a massive miscommunication there. Not sure what Boone was expecting, but it certainly didn't turn out like he wanted.
You go back to that Sacramento Republic score, 1-1 with Las Vegas Lights. You know Mark Briggs and his side are gonna wanna have a positive second half. And that 4-0 win against this Phoenix Rising side on Wednesday, sitting atop the Western Conference standings, playing a Las Vegas Lights side that sits at the bottom with only 1 win, 11 losses and 9 draws.
Maybe a build up here. Dixon lays it off and deflected. I don't know if somebody got that. We have a corner kick coming up or a goal kick. Now wait a minute, now the referee I'll be careful, made contact with the ref, and he's gonna get a yellow card, and I don't think there's any. That's gonna be our first yellow of the match. Going to go against Okoli for bumping the official. It wasn't. I don't believe it. He's got to be careful. He really should just walk here. He wants to argue his case.
And it really does look like it takes a slight deflection there, but still gives no reason to bump the official. And again, for Monterey Bay, they've got to get their teammate out of there.
And that's a strict no, you just can't do that, even if it's an accident. You know, he got a little crowded, he got a little too close and made contact, and that's automatic. The referee has no choice in that matter. He has to issue a booking. Sometimes that's a red, too.
Well, as you mentioned, and just the continuation of it as well, almost asking for that second yellow.
Yeah, I'm glad he didn't. Damaging enough for Monterey Bay to begin with. That the yellow card is one thing. You can survive that. Going down a man in this situation would be a plug puller. As Frankie Allop has to wonder, what else? Should I be careful when I start my car today on the way home?
You talk about the score lines in the other Western Conference games. I mean, you look at 2 of these teams. I mean, Monterey Bay sitting with 6 draws on the season. Phoenix Rising sitting with 8 draws on the season. I mean, those are games that if you flipped some of those results and even cut those in half into 3 draws and turn those into wins, those are big points.
Throw in coming up for the Union. Interesting also that it's been kind of quiet on the substitution side for Juan Guerrera. Real quiet. He hasn't made any in this half. And the only one he's made so far was due to injury when he brought in Jose Hernandez to replace Daniel Crutzen. Not to say that he won't substitute, But at the moment, he's content with what he has out there, and he does have the statistics to back it up. 2-0.
Yeah, and he just shows how important this match is in the rhythm. And as you say it, they're preparing something. Yeah, I mean, it was bound to come at some point, but.
Well, I wonder, plus with the match that you just played on Wednesday and the travel, although they were fortunate they didn't have a massive travel,
correct,
Sacramento to Monterey, that's not difficult. But, here we start to see. So you now wonder, do you go with defense here? Maybe you pull Arteaga, give him a break. We'll see what the plan is.
Does look like one of the substitutions is Formella, who they just acquired from Oakland Roots.
From Poland. Dixon just says the heck with it. I'm going to fire, and it's off the mark. And Formella is indeed in, and it is for Arteaga. So Derek, as they call him. Formella. And Maldonado in for Monterey Bay. I believe Donor is going to be checking out. No.
Looked like it was Chase Boone.
No, it is Boone. You're right. Donor has got the ball. He's ready to inbound the ball. And Trejo will come out. So the two goal scorers are out of this match. Traore coming in. You see Formella there. Traore from LAFC. And Mo Traore from Senegal. Trying to pull a rabbit out of a hat here, as you see Okoli had a chance, but just couldn't get any pace on that header at all. He was well marked.
And with the introduction of Formella, Juan Guerra has the opportunity to possibly get another really dangerous striker in rhythm.
Roberts with a header. Monterey trying everything they have. They just have not been able to penetrate Rios Novo, who's had 3 huge saves, including a penalty kick save, and you wonder what happens there. It becomes 2-1, and there was plenty of time left when that happened. And Gleedle's shot, as you mentioned, I don't think it was the best, Eric, of all time, but still, he was saved.
Yeah, and I mean, as coaches and as players, you're going to continue to look back at opportunities where you could have changed the complexion of a match. You look at the penalty kick, you look at the save on Alex Dixon's shot. You just look at some of those moments, but at some point, you have to start executing and you need to start scoring those goals. I've said it in the first half, goals change games, but timely goals change games. So those moments where you can take control of a game, and in the moments of those saves by Rios Novo, Monterey Bay was firmly in control of the rhythm and the tempo of the match. I mean, you put away the header from Valesky.
Ooh, this is dangerous here. Shot, kick save, and a beauty by Siaha. That was Formella who came up with that opportunity, though, very quickly coming in. Here's another shot that's blocked by the captain, Roberts. And Phoenix wants a third.
Good entry pass here to Formella. Met by a really good save by Siaha, who unfortunately has really not had the opportunity to make many saves because the goal by Arteaga is a really tough one. The pass by Harvey.
Might have been his first save.
Yeah.
You remember at halftime, it was 2 shots on goal and both had gone in. So that may have been his first save of the night.
Yep, and really difficult scenario with Danny Trejo, and that ball played in by Armanakis.
Is Roberts going to get a dissension here? Or the referee just wants the ball when he wants the ball? Yeah, Roberts was complaining vigorously about a call, but no, that's just the referee wanting the ball placed where he believes it should have been started after the foul by Roberts. Well, you remember, speaking of Roberts, you remember Eric Back, he had a good chance with his head and directed it wide. And you could see his frustration when he missed, knowing that and that was a certain goal. If he puts that in the proper direction, the goalie was frozen.
Yep. It's just a lot of what-if moments for Monterey Bay tonight. And really, it's kind of been the story of both teams' season thus far. A lot of what-ifs, creating chances. But tonight, Phoenix Rising being on the positive side of thus far, taking their chances and executing in that final moment as well. Juan Guerra and this team are going to really feel like they did not put a complete 90 minutes together.
Well, we finally have another team out west ahead. Orange County has gone up on New Mexico 1-0. Well, tonight you've had Arteaga for Phoenix tying for the league lead with 11 goals. Trejo added his 9th. Phoenix inching ever closer to a big 3 points, which puts them above the playoff line and drives Monterey into 10th position. With another loss in July, and there's that old Green Day song, not that old, Wake Me Up When September Ends. And I think you substitute months, and that's how you've got to feel if you are a fan of the Crisp and Kelp. Wake me up when July ends, please. The problem is August doesn't look like a summer vacation.
Yeah, exactly. And we talked about the signing and the introduction of Rafa Baca, but there's going to be a lot of pieces that need to impact if Monterey Bay is look to make a run and threaten to enter above that playoff line.
Foul called here. With just a few minutes remaining. Stoppage time shouldn't be an issue. We've had no goals in this half. We've had just the one yellow card to Okoli for making contact with the referee.
For Phoenix Rising, again, we mentioned we turn to August 5th as they host San Antonio, who they drew with 1-1 at San Antonio on April 22nd.
Yeah, they get to go home. Their next 2 games are at home, San Antonio and El Paso Locomotive.
We do talk about that daunting 5-game stretch for Monterey Bay, but their next match as they host Sacramento Republic, the previous match, they won 1-0. June 17th.
Ooh. That's going to be an immediate yellow card. I don't think, well, I can't get into intent as Traore got him from behind, and that looked painful for Gleedle. Yeah, it's a little late.
Left foot, yep.
A lot late, actually.
Looks like Sam Gleedle when he was planting that right foot. Traore just catching him at an angle where that stance was really awkward.
Is there a miracle in Seaside, California, or is Monterey Bay going to go through a winless July? There's a breakout now for the Rising. Yeah, looks like more substitutions, getting a chance to break a small sweat on a beautiful evening in Seaside, Cardinale Stadium, but the home fans are going to go away unhappy. Armanakis is going to check out of the match. Fede Varela will come in, and Cuello looks like he's going to come in as well. Or Emil Cuello, pardon me. So Uzuchua will check out. And Armanakis checks out as well.
A fairly quiet night by Armanakis, but that ball into Danny Trejo was unlocking that space in behind was tremendous.
Well, he should. I never did see if he got an assist officially on that, but if he didn't, somebody cheated him. Got the kick up just a little bit high. The referee will leave it wants the ball where he wants the ball, period. Again, not expecting a massive amount of stoppage time in this one. And I think it's kind of sunk in on even the most ardent fan of the Union that this is going to be one in the loss column. And drive them deeper in the Western standings. Good give and go here. And maybe a chance for one more for fun. And a corner kick coming up. It looks like a donor got a piece of that, I think. No, apparently not. And the ruling is a goal kick. Munjoma with a threat there.
Really clever build-up there.
Yeah, that's mostly substitutes too, doing all that work, except for Munjoma, who's played the full game.
And Munjoma almost looks surprised that the ball was left for him, and really clever work by Phoenix Rising. As you mentioned, we talk about the foundation of how Phoenix Rising look to play, this expansive style and in possession. They've been really, really tough to handle in transition moments.
4 minutes of stoppage time is the ruling.
Looked like there for a minute that Hernandez bit concerned about an injury, but telling Wangera that he's fine to stay on. So see this last 4 minutes out.
Yeah, you don't really want to give up any time. You want to get up and go. And if it hurts, it'll feel better with some pickle juice. And a win, 3 points. Not sure what's going on with those two.
We've now decided pickle juice is the
thing, baby.
Is the solution.
Yeah, I may cancel my plans when I get home and just go straight to the pickle juice. Turnover. That's some very clever work that time by Formella. So Anthony Siaha, his record will now go to 3-7-5. And Rios Novo is approaching his third clean sheet of the season. Dixon can't find a slot to shoot in and just gives the ball away with a pass that didn't even come close to working out. And Eddie Munjomo being marked aggressively by Kai Green, very aggressively by Kai Green, but it earns a goal kick. Well, here's a chance. Varela and Siaha working a lot harder at the end of this game than I think he expected or wants to. But he distributes very quickly. Trying to come up with something miraculous for the Union. And it would be that at this point. _250th game for Hugh Roberts. A major achievement in the history of USL Championship soccer, and congratulations to Hugh for that. It'll be a night he won't remember for that necessarily, at least not in the early going.
Frank Yallop earlier this week when we spoke to him, high praise for the leader that Hugh Roberts is, the professional leader he is on and off the field. Always prepared and ready.
I don't think anything prepares you for this run that the Union is on right now. This will be 0-5-1 in their last 6. They'll drop to 7-9-6. They'll hold to 27 points. Phoenix now goes to 7-6-8, 29 points. They'll go above the playoff line.
Sometimes that's the hardest corner to turn when you're building a franchise, is the earning of results. Starting to compete last year, really pushing some teams this year as well. Again, we continue to talk about the continuity on this roster. Now you're looking to turn the corner in the results column.
We may get the whistle right here after this kick from the guy that I would still vote for as man of the match, Rocco Rios Novo, who had 3 saves. No one would have blamed him if any of those had gone in. And that is all. It's a clean sheet for Rios Novo, his 3rd on the year in his 19th start. And Phoenix Rising has risen into the playoff picture. And on the road, by the way, this is their 4th road win with only 5 defeats and 3 draws, and they remain unbeaten this season when they score first. It has to be an incredibly satisfying win for Juan Guerrera. And on the other side, you saw Frank Yallop there for a moment, who will leave this pitch a man looking for answers to questions that at the moment have baffled him lately. The good news for Monterey Bay FC is July is over for them. It's a rough one. 2-0. Phoenix Rising on top. We'll review when we return.
Coastal Roots Hospitality is a proud partner of the Monterey Bay Football Club. Coastal Roots Events and Catering, along with its 3 iconic restaurants, Monterey, Tarpey's, and Rio Grill, invite you to pick it up and pay it forward, where 10% of all proceeds from takeout orders are donated to various local charities. Their catering service and restaurants utilize local farms, butcheries, and ocean-fresh, sustainability-driven seafood to deliver unique and exemplary dining experiences. For more information, visit coastalrootshospitality.com.
Are you paying too much for your car insurance? Call Coast Auto Insurance to receive a free quote and see how much you could save. Coast works with over 50 different insurance companies to make sure you get the best rate for your car, motorcycle, home, or business. Coast is a local company with local people. We do vehicle registration, SR22, and insurance for Mexico. Call Coast Auto Insurance today for a free quote and see how much we can save you. Or go to coastautoinsurance.com, where your peace of mind is guaranteed.
On the road, Phoenix Rising FC picks up a satisfying 2-0 win over Monterey Bay FC, ending a nightmare of a month for Monterey Bay. And we'll see in August, it looks like a tough one, but you just can never predict anything in this sport, as we have seen. So let's go back, Eric Dabrowski, to the highlights, and let's go back to the first goal of the match.
And up until this moment, Monterey Bay had been on the front foot, creating a lot of chances and good saves by Rios Novo. Turnover higher up the field, this ball into Harvey, getting around Hugh Roberts. Just finds Arteaga right inside the 6-yard box. Absolutely no doubt about Arteaga that close to goal and giving Siaha no chance to make a save there. And then right before halftime, this ball played in by Armanakis into Danny Trejo. The pace and the patience of Danny Trejo, and again, Siaha left out, and 2-0 for Phoenix Rising, and really a first half. The first 15-20 minutes were very forgettable for Phoenix Rising. They make a couple changes, and all of a sudden they're winning the ball higher up the field. They're finding good shape when they regain possession, and going into the break up 2-0, really feeling all the momentum trending their direction. But then you start the second half, and this foul by Zambrano on Alex Dixon, really careless, and you see an opportunity for Monterey Bay to cut into this lead. Sam Galito, who had just entered in the second half, comes up for the penalty kick, and Rios Novo, who already had 2 game-changing saves, one on the Valesky header and the Alex Dixon shot, saves the penalty kick by Sam Galito. Obviously not the contact that Galito was looking for, but just adds to the night that Rios Novo was having, keeping his team in the game early and then preserving that 2-0 lead as well. And then
look at this. Yeah, we were right. Siaha had 1 save tonight. That was it. 15-6 in shots, 7 saves tonight for Rios Novo. Possession was equal. We had a couple of yellow cards. Nothing, but this was not a very physical or dirty game or anything close to that. But yeah, not much in the offside department. Cleanly played for the most part. But for Phoenix Rising, they now rise, pardon the expression, into the playoff picture, making it into the top 8. While for Monterey Bay, they finished the month 0-5-1, 6 straight now without a win since their victory over Miami at the end of June. Final score of the final time, Phoenix Rising, a 2-0 win over Monterey Bay FC. For Eric Dabrowski and our crew, I'm Dave Lamont. Thank you very much for watching the United Soccer League Championship. Good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.